You throw, they break it. You throw again, they break it again. So you stop throwing. A few seconds later, they stop ducking. They stop looking for throws. Their defense changes. You walk forward, use a mid, counter hit. You smile. I mix them up. But that's not really what happened. You didn't confuse them, you just educated them. Every decision you made changed the way they were thinking. And that's the biggest difference between average players and elite competitors. Average players react to opponents. Elite players shape them, molds them. Because every jab, every throw, every delay, every heat engager, every blocked string is teaching your opponent something. The question is, what are you teaching them? Welcome back to How Winners Think. You see, most Tekken players understand adaptation. You watch your opponent, you notice habits, you adjust. That's good, real good. But elite players take it just one step further. They don't just adapt, they influence. Instead of asking, how do I beat what they are doing? They ask, how do I make them do what I want them to do? That one question changes everything. Because fighting games aren't just about reactions. They're about expectations. And expectations can be controlled. Today, we are going to explore one of the oldest principles in competitive fighting games. Conditioning. Not as a gimmick, and definitely not as a trick, but as a psychological conversation between two players. Because once you understand how to shape expectations, you are no longer playing against your opponent. You're playing against the version of the game you have taught them to expect. Imagine someone you have never played before. They dash forward, throw, you break it. A few seconds later, they throw again, you break it again. Now your brain has learned something. This player likes throws. Without realizing it, you've changed your defense. You are now looking for throws. You are now ready for throws. You are now expecting throws. Now imagine they never throw again. Instead, they walk forward, pause, mid-launcher. You get hit. Why? Because you weren't defending against the move. You were defending against the lesson. This happens constantly in Tekken. Every repeated action creates an expectation, and every expectation creates an opportunity. The important thing to understand is this: your opponent isn't only learning about your character, they are learning about you. People often ask/talk about conditioning like it's some advanced technique. It isn't. It's just human psychology. Imagine someone knocks on your door every evening at exactly 6 o'clock. After a week, you begin expecting it. By the second week, you look toward the door before they even knock. Nothing magical happened. Your brain recognized a pattern. Tekken works exactly the same way. If every block jab is followed by another jab, people begin challenging after the second one. If every heat engager leads to aggression, people prepare for aggression. If every knockdown leads to a throw, people begin ducking. Patterns reduce uncertainty. The brain loves certainty, which is exactly why elite players create it, only to take it away. Conditioning isn't about repeating something forever. It's about repeating it just long enough for your opponent to believe the pattern is real. Then, you change it. One of the biggest misconceptions in Tekken is that players react to everything they see. Most of the time, they don't. They react to what they expect. Think about how often you've been hit by a slow move, not because it was fast, but because you weren't looking for it. Your brain had already predicted something else. Expectation is incredibly powerful. It fills in the gaps before your eyes do. That's why repeated timing, repeated pressure, repeated options become dangerous. Not because the moves get stronger, but because your opponent stops thinking. They begin assuming. Once assumptions replace observation, they are now vulnerable. And that's where real offense begins. This is where average players and elite players separate. You see, average players find something that works, then they just keep doing it. Elite players ask, has my opponent learned it yet? That's a completely different mindset. Imagine your jab pressure has worked 5 times. Great. Now stop. Walk forward. Do nothing. See what happens. Maybe they swing. Whiff punish. Maybe they freeze. Take space. Maybe they duck. Use a mid. The strongest players don't repeat successful actions forever. They abandon them at the exact moment that they are expected. That's what makes them unpredictable. Not randomness, timing. Every lesson has an expiration date. The moment your opponent understands it, it's time to teach them something new. This is where Tekken then becomes psychological. Instead of asking, what should I do? Ask, what decision do I want them to make? That's a completely different game. Want them to stop pressing? Frame trap them a few times. Want them to duck? Show them throws. Want them to stop ducking? Launch them with mids. Want them to challenge less? Punish impatience. Notice what is happening. You are no longer solving problems. You are now creating them. The opponent isn't simply adapting to the match. They are now adapting to you. And if you understand that, you can now begin guiding those adaptations. Watch high-level Tekken carefully. The strongest players aren't constantly searching for answers. They are asking questions, such as, will they duck? Will they press? Will they challenge? Every action is an experiment. Every round is feedback. They are constantly testing the limits of their opponent's expectations. The reason they look so far ahead isn't because they are predicting the future. No, it's because they are creating it. They understand something most players never think about. Every interaction changes the next interaction. Nothing happens in isolation. The current decision becomes tomorrow's habit, and tomorrow's habit becomes tomorrow's punishment. For your next 5 ranked matches, don't worry about winning. Choose one habit you want to teach. Maybe it's throw 3 times, then use a mid. Maybe it's delay after every blocked jab, then attack immediately. Maybe it's pressure with heat, then suddenly backdash. Your objective isn't damage, it's observation. Did your opponent change? Did they start ducking? Did they hesitate? Did they press less? If they did, congratulations. You didn't just adapt, you influenced. Most players spend the match reacting. Elite players spend the match directing reactions. That's just the simple difference. One player asks, what is happening? The other asks, what am I making happen? Once you begin thinking this way, Tekken changes forever. Every jab becomes a message. Every throw becomes a lesson. Every delay becomes a question. Every punish then becomes feedback. The match stops feeling random. It starts feeling like a conversation, and the player asking better questions usually controls that conversation ends. If you remember one thing from this video, remember this. Every decision teaches. Make sure you're teaching the lesson you actually want your opponent to learn. The next time you step into ranked, don't just think about your next move. Think about your opponent's next expectation. Ask yourself, if I keep doing this, what will they believe? Because the moment you understand that, you'll stop playing one move at a time. You'll start shaping the entire match. And that's where Tekken stops becoming a fighting game and starts becoming psychology. This has been How Winners Think. Until next time, don't just read your opponent. Teach them. Think first.